What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Daily Misfire. I'm going to make sense of that crazy sound and what you were watching back there. I'm walking and I'm using my phone for this because it's what I have right now. The GoPro died. It's just out of battery and I'm too lazy to charge it because I forgot to last night. So that was a 65 long bed frame for a C10. Actually a C20 frame is what that one is. Doesn't really matter. My cousin's putting together because that truck right here, which this is a 61 C10 short bed step side that we were originally going to use, and he's going to do an LS swap, and he has suspension that's underneath that tarp right there, that thing. We were going to use all that suspension on this frame, put it together and make it run. But if you stand back a little bit, you can notice that the bed is kind of like this and this is kind of like that. Yeah, that's because the bed and the frame is kind of like that. It looks kind of like a hook. Yeah, so the frame's bent. So this frame is junk because we're not going to try to fix it. So instead, we're going to use that long bed frame, shorten it for this short bed. So that's the plan. He has the doors and everything for this. They're all in the back. We have everything for this truck. It's just blown apart. So the plan is for him to shorten that frame, and then I get to weld it. So he's going to cut it up, and then we're going to smush it back together, and then I'm going to weld it back together. He watched a YouTube video. So much like you're doing right now, he watched a YouTube video about how to do this. And this isn't more of a how-to. This is more of just us doing it and kind of seeing how it works, because we've never done this before. So get my fat finger out of the way, because we've never done this before. So this is more of a review on doing this and like a realistic thing outside of just like some hot rod shops doing it, you know, people DIYing it. This is a DIY. So I'm going to basically show this. I'm going to show a few videos of him doing it and then cutting it, and then I'll give you my review after this, because I don't feel like having to edit a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, so that's what's gonna happen, and you guys are gonna see this is probably gonna be like a 10-minute video, if that, of just me kind of talking about it, and then you'll see some action video of that sound and then so let's just cut to that, and then you'll see me talking about it after, and we're going, well, this sucked, or that wasn't really that bad at all, you should do it. So let's get to that side of it. Ready? guys got to see probably 2-3 minutes probably of like a montage of us cutting and welding and fitting and measuring and stuff. Okay, so how we did that which I'll link the video. I can't think of the video or the guy that we watched do this, that we used his way of doing it. I can't think of the guy's name right now, so I'll link his video down below in the description so you guys can see more about how he did it. How we did it was basically just going off literally what he was talking about and how he described everything, and we just went from there. So that was that Z cut almost, the way it looks, because you come up and then across and then back up, and you're cutting out a piece on the top and a piece on the bottom, which they're both about a foot long, because you're taking 12 inches out of the middle of the frame and you take 8 inches off the back. So you take 8 inches off the top, 8 inches off the bottom, and then on both sides, and then it basically, slides over the top of one another, and then you can weld that entire seam right there. So that's all we did. It took all of, I think we started like 11:30 and we were done by 4. So I mean, that was a 4-hour process of cutting the frame, and it was done. So I think the hardest thing that we had to make sure of was getting enough jack stands and getting everything to where we needed it to be. Just kind of getting it all level, getting everything kind of situated and set up correctly so that we can slide it off and then slide it back and kind of move it around enough to where it made sense for us. And then after that, I welded everything up. It probably took about 45 minutes to weld everything, and then we did the original inside and outside of the frame itself, and then we took one of the pieces that we cut out and we put that on the inside of the frame rail, and I welded that to the inside part where one of the seams was, so that way to add that a little bit more structure to it, which I don't think is needed at this point, just because that it's not gonna be a 200-mile-an-hour car Bonneville. It's not gonna be a 6-second drag car. I mean, it's not a road course car, so it's more of a street car, but still you want it to be strong. So I mean, and honestly, if it was gonna be turned into something like that, it'll probably be fine for that too. But yeah, so we didn't box it. We didn't put a full piece of metal inside of it. We didn't do any of that. But I still think what we did is just as strong as what it was factory, or what it was, before. Because it's just that C channel basically is all it is for those old frames. So, but yeah, it was pretty cool to do that, and I've never done it. It was very stressful when we were doing it, but then after, it was like, oh, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. Just because you get those like horror stories of, well, we cut the frame in half. I don't know how this is going to go, but it ended up working out fine. So I would not be afraid of doing that again, because honestly, we used our skill saw. That's not what that's called. It was our Makita little like saw I used for like cutting exhaust and stuff. I mean, we used that, and then a welder and a tape measure, a Sharpie, a level, and then my phone's level. And then our welder and stuff, and honestly, that was it. So, and you guys kind of saw everything. We X'd it across for the same way that guy did. We did all that. You measure, 12, 12, and 12 inches, so it's 2 feet total is what you're measuring out, and then you remove, and then you just cut, and a little bit of cutting to make sure you have kind of straight lines, and then kind of sand it down, smooth it down a little bit, grind. The hardest thing that we had to do was get the frame prepped for it, which is, getting all the rivets and stuff out of things that we didn't need, because, it's going from a long bed to a short bed. It doesn't need some of the structure that the long bed has, because of, how flexy those frames are. So, yeah, so that's kind of all we did, and you kind of saw it, and I'll show you guys more of that truck later as we go through it, and it'll probably be more like this kind of videos, just because we're kind of short for time. So this is the fastest way for me to give you guys content, and also for us to be able to do things. That way I'm not sitting here going, okay, let me get a camera set, let me get a camera set, let me get a camera set, because that takes forever. And for someone that's not completely used to it yet, it takes forever, and it's just easier just to quickly grab my phone, camera, or GoPro, and just film a little bit here and there. That way you guys still feel like you're included and get to see what we're doing. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys on the seaside, flip-flop, shamaram. I don't know what I'm saying. I'll see you guys later. Peace.